Salutations, this is Crazed Kitsune, aka Khuma'zi Tayuun, and welcome to Samurai for Dummies Level 50. In this video, I'm going to be attempting to explain the basics of how to play a samurai so that you can be at least moderately useful to your party and not a detriment. First thing I'm going to cover is how you become a samurai. Samurai is one of the two jobs introduced in the Stormblood expansion. In order to become a samurai, you need to meet two requirements. Requirement 1, you have to have the Stormblood expansion. If you don't, you can't be samurai. Number 2, have a Disciple of War or Magic class at level 50 or above. If you meet both of these requirements, go to Ul'dah to pick up samurai. You will find them near the Aetheryte. Next, what is a samurai? Samurai is a melee DPS. Their damage stat is strength, so you're going to want as much strength on your gear as you can get. Apologies for any clicking in the video, that's me muting my mic while I cough up a lung. Anyway, with the stats and how to become samurai covered, let's look at their traits and their abilities. As a pure job, they have no class actions. It's all job. Now, in their traits, well, we don't have much to cover here. We have enhanced strength at level 20, which gives them 8 strength, which makes them do more damage. And at level 40, they have enhanced strength 2, which gives them 16 strength. Yet more damage. And now for their skills. As you can see, there isn't too terribly much here yet. There are more skills. Also, there are a few things that you can't see just yet, which we'll cover once we get to another skill. But first, at level 1, you have Khuma'zi. It is a global cooldown weapon skill, which costs 60 TP. Global cooldown is 2.5 seconds. I happen to have some pieces of equipment on that have skill speed, which shortens the cast and recast time of weapon skills, but it's 2.5 seconds natively. Khuma'zi is a potency 150 attack. At level 4, you acquire Jinpu, which is another global cooldown weapon skill. It costs 60 TP, just like Khuma'zi. It has a potency of 100, but it has a combo action with Khuma'zi. So if you use Khuma'zi first, Jinpu will then be potency 280. It will also apply a buff to you, which will last for 30 seconds, increasing the damage you deal by 10%. Very nice. At level 6, you acquire Third Eye, which reduces the amount of damage you take by the next attack by 5%. It lasts for 3 seconds, so you want to use it just before you're going to get hit by something that you can't avoid. And it has a 15-second recast, so you can't just use it all the time. At level 10, you acquire Ageha. This is a 60-second cooldown execute. You can only use it if the enemy is below 20% of their maximum health. When executed, it will deliver a potency 250 attack. At level 15, you acquire NP. This is a global cooldown weapon skill which costs 260 TP, and you'll notice that it has a 15 yalm range instead of 3. That's because it's a ranged attack with potency 100. In a lot of situations, you probably won't use this too often. This is basically just so you can minimize your damage downtime when you can't get up close enough to slash the crap out of something. At level 18, you acquire Shifu, a global cooldown weapon skill with a TP cost of 60. Its base potency is 100, and its combo action is Khuma'zi, meaning if you use Khuma'zi, you have to choose between Jinpu and Shifu. They have the same combo potency, but they have a different combo bonus. Where Jinpu gives you a 10% damage up, Shifu gives you a 10% haste for 30 seconds. All this really means is you're going to be cycling through a couple of combos to maintain some buffs, which will maintain a higher damage output for you. At level 26, you acquire Fuga, a global recast weapon skill that has a 6 yalm range and radius. It is a conal attack with potency 100 and costs 140 TP. This is an AoE for when you have lots of enemies. At level 30, we have Gecko, a global recast weapon skill which costs 50 TP, that has a base potency of 100, but it combos off of Jinpu and gets combo potency 400. It also grants you a Getsu. What's a Getsu? Well, you see those 3 little things down in the lower right of my screen? Those are my sen gauge. Getsu is one of 3 sens you can accumulate. Why do you accumulate sens? So you can use Iai Jutsu. Basically, it's a quick draw attack with your sword. For every sen you have, it has a different attack. If you have 1 sen, it does Higanbana, which is if you have 2 sen, it does Tenka Goken. And if you have 3, it uses Midari Setsugeka. Iai Jutsu is on your global cooldown, and it has a 2-second cast time for whatever ability you are triggering with it. At level 30, you can only do the one, Higanbana. And now that I've mentioned Iai Jutsu, it's time to go look at what they are. Here's Higanbana, which is a potency 240 attack to your target, which also applies a potency 35 damage over time that lasts for 6 seconds. If you have 1 sen, you use Higanbana. If you have 2 sen, then you use Tenka Goken, which is a potency 360 attack in a cone in front of you. The attack has diminishing returns for each additional enemy you strike. The second enemy takes 10% less, the third takes 20% less, the fourth takes 30% less, the fifth takes 40% less, and the sixth and beyond are taking half damage. If you're in an AoE heavy fight, you're going to be using Tenka Goken fairly regularly, in fact. And if you have 3 sen, then you can use Midari Setsugeka, which is a potency 720 attack. This thing hurts. The only attacks in the game with more potency than this are like limit breaks. So you can't even use those outside of a party. As you may have noticed, Samurai has some pretty high potency on their attacks. Yep, Samurai is all about the damage. They deal a ton. At level 35, you acquire Mangetsu. This is a global cooldown weapon skill with a TP cost of 140 and a 5 yalm radius around you. It is an AoE. It natively is a potency 100 with the diminishing return. The second target takes 10% less damage, the third takes 20% less, the fourth takes 30, fifth is 40, and the sixth and beyond are taking half. But it combos off of Fuga, which is your conal, and if it's a combo, then it has a potency 200, and its diminishing returns are halved. So it loses 5% damage on the second target, 10% on the third, 15% on the fourth, 20% on the fifth, and 25% on the sixth and beyond. Obviously, you want to combo this. At level 40, you acquire Kasha, a global cooldown weapon skill with TP cost of 50. It combos off of Shifu. Its base potency is 100, its combo potency is 400. Notice anything? It's exactly the same potency setting as Gecko, but instead of comboing off Jinpu, it combos off Shifu. And where Gecko grants you the Getsu Sen, Kasha grants you the Ka-sen. This allows you to gain 2 sens. Oh, also Mangetsu grants you a Getsu-sen. So once you have Kasha, you are able to have 2 different sen. With 2 different sen, you can now use Tenkagoken. At level 45, you acquire Oka, a global cooldown weapon skill that costs 140 TP and has a 5 yalm radius around you. Notice anything? Yeah, it's basically Mangetsu with a different name and graphic and probably animation. And instead of granting the Getsu-sen, it grants the Ka-sen. You have 2 AoE combos, which provide you with 2 sen to allow you to use your AoE Yaijutsu. This is a melee DPS with a lot of AoE. And at level 50, you acquire Yukikaze, a global cooldown weapon skill that costs 50 TP. Its base potency is 100. Its combo action is Hakaze. Yep, you've got 3 things that combo off Hakaze. Its combo potency is 340. Its combo bonus is that it puts a slashing resistance debuff of 10% on the enemy. This debuff lasts for 30 seconds. It also grants you the Setsu-sen, meaning with your single target combos, you can accumulate a total of 3 sen and use your Midari Setsugeka. I think that's what it was called. Yes, the Midari Setsugeka. And lastly, at level 50, we have Meikyo Shisui. This is an 80-second cooldown, which allows you to execute up to 3 weapon skill combos without meeting combo prerequisites. It does not affect Yaijutsu. It lasts for 10 seconds, or until you use 3 weapon skills that have combo actions on them. What this effectively means is you can pop Meikyo Shisui, use a combo ender, use your Yaijutsu to apply Higanbana, and then use 2 more combo enders, and then follow it with a combo to get 3 sen, and then unleash Midari Setsugeka. This is a burst skill. You can do some pretty amazing things with Samurai when you know what you're doing. I'm still pretty new to Samurai, so I'm probably not going to be the best out there. But Samurai is rather amazing, don't you think? And now, on to the role actions. As a melee DPS, Samurai shares its role actions with Ninja, Monk, and Dragoon. Once you have unlocked a role action slot, it appears to be permanently available to you no matter what level you are at. Once you have learned a role action, you can stick it in any role action slot you like and have access to it whenever you want. At level 8, you learn Second Wind, which is a 2-minute cooldown which provides you with a 500 potency self-heal based off your current attack power. At level 12, you gain Arm's Length, a 60-second cooldown which creates a barrier nullifying any knockback and draw-in effects for the next 5 seconds. And if the barrier is struck, it will then apply a 20% slow to whatever struck the barrier, which will last for 15 seconds. I imagine there are going to be some uses for this. At level 16, you get Leg Sweep, which is a 40-second cooldown, 3-second stun. Obviously, there will be times when you might need to stun something. Having Leg Sweep will help with that. And by help, I mean enable you to do it. At level 20, you acquire Diversion, a 2-minute cooldown which, for the next 15 seconds, severely reduces the enmity you generate. Considering how much damage you output, you might be needing this. At level 24, you get Invigorate, a 2-minute cooldown which will instantly restore 400 TP, almost half of your TP. In prolonged fights, you're gonna need this. At level 32, you have Bloodbath, a 90-second cooldown which will grant you a 20-second buff. This buff will convert part of all physical damage you deal into healing for you. At level 36, we have Goad, a 3-minute cooldown, which allows you to place a TP refresh on a party member. This refresh will last for 30 seconds. You can't use it on yourself, but that doesn't mean it's useless. If you have a party member who uses TP like candy, they're going to thank you for having Goad. At level 40, you get Feint, a 2-minute recast 10 yalm range, though honestly since you're melee that doesn't matter all that much, debuff to the enemy. It will last for 10 seconds and will reduce their strength and dexterity by 10%, so if they're a physical attacker, they're doing less damage. This is useful for when you're fighting things that hit hard or you know it's about to use a physical tank buster. At level 44, you acquire Crutch. This has a 30 yalm range because you use it on a party member, just like Goad. This 90-second cooldown will remove any bind or heavy effects that are currently affecting that party member. You can't use it on yourself, but you can use it on an ally. And lastly, we have True North. At least at level 50, this has no use for Samurai, because this 2.5-minute cooldown will give you a 15-second buff, which, while it's still in effect, completely nullifies any direction requirements on your skills. Any positional bonuses you have, well, you just have them, you just get them. It doesn't matter anymore. You can be punching something in the face as a monk with this and still get maximum DPS. I still wouldn't recommend punching things in the face, but you can. As you can see, I only have 4 roll actions currently slotted in because I can't figure out a good 5th to stick on. I personally don't use Second Wind because it creates health disparities between me and other people who may have been hit by a raid wide, which might confuse healers. It has its uses. If you want to use it, go ahead. But I do heavily recommend you have Diversion and Invigorate, because since you have very high damage, you're going to be generating a lot of hate. And since you're a physical DPS, you're going to be using up TP. Goad, I advise you use because it's going to be helpful to your party. Feint, I advise you use because it's going to be helpful for your tank's survival. But you may be swapping these out for other things, though I don't know. It all depends on duties and what you're going to be expecting to deal with. With all of that out of the way, let's get to the demonstrations. Also, yeah, this looks pretty cool. What's the sprint look like? Ooh! Yeah, you grab your sheath so it's not smacking you. That's actually a nice attention to detail. Hello, Red Mage. I am a samurai. Sama. Whee! Anyway, I'm going to be demonstrating each individual combo and each Yaijutsu before I attempt anything resembling a rotation. So let's start with my ranged attack. NP! That looks pretty neat, doesn't it? Hey, you. You're weak! And yeah, as you can see, I can't go it myself. Third Eye isn't going to do anything in this particular instance. I'm generating less enmity. Alright. So, I can demonstrate 2 Yaijutsu without having to actually do any combos, thanks to Meikyo Shisui. So, let's hit you with this, and then hit you with this, and Tenka Goken! Oh, I took too long. Oh well. Yukikaze! Higambana! Alright, now, that was also just to probably show it off. This is the Yukikaze combo. Next, I'm going to follow it with the Jinpu combo. And then I will follow that with the Shifu combo. And we shall end it off with Midari Setsugeka! Eat death! Now, for Fuga, into Mangetsu, into another Fuga, followed by Oka, followed by Tenka Goken. That is your AoE combo rotation. Doesn't matter which order you use Mangetsu and Oka in, it just matters that you use them. And that you use both. So, if you're in an AoE fight, your general rotation will be to go Fuga, Mangetsu, Fuga, Oka, Tenka Goken, Fuga, Mangetsu, Invigorate, Fuga, Oka, Tenka Goken. Make your Shisui. Mangetsu, Oka, Tenka Goken, Mangetsu, Fuga, Oka, Tenka Goken. And that's the general idea of your AoE rotation. And yes, as you can see, that eats your TP like candy. And you have only one means of getting TP back. But it's still better than nothing. By far. Now, for your single target AoE, for your single target rotation, I'm not sure whether it's the Shifu combo first or the Jinpu combo first. To me, it makes sense to use the Jinpu combo first so you can do more damage, but either way, you don't want to start with either of your 3-hit combos. No. You start with Yukikaze to give them the slashing debuff, hit them with Higanbana, then you do your Jinpu combo, throw in your Ageha if the enemy is low enough, then you do your Shifu combo, and then let's do another Jinpu combo. Then let's do a Yukikaze combo, into a Midari Sekgetsu, into a Shifu combo to make sure I don't lose my haste. And then we'll do a couple of Jinpu combos. Actually, let's do a Yukikaze combo, into a Midari Setsugeka, into a Jinpu combo, into a Higanbana, into a Shifu combo, into a Jinpu combo, into a Yukikaze combo, into a Midari Setsugeka. I might have the rotation wrong, but at the very least, it's effective, and considering the potency of your Shifu and Jinpu combos are identical, the order you use them in once you have all of your buffs active is completely inconsequential as long as you're not letting any of your buffs fall off. Because Higanbana lasts so long, you only have to use a Higanbana once every several combos. Of course, at the start of a fight, I would recommend using Meikyo Shisui so that you can quickly get a Higanbana and get two of your Sens accumulated. And then do your Yukikaze combo again just so you can get your third Sen up and unleash a Midari Setsugeka. And then begin running through your rotation. Though there might be a more optimal method of doing that. In fact, probably it would be more optimal to use Meikyo Shisui to use Jinpu, and then use I don't know, Gecko. Use your Yaijutsu, then use Yukikaze, then do your Jinpu, then do your Shifu combo, so that you get your haste effect, then do your Jinpu combo, and do a Midari Setsugeka. I don't know optimal, obviously, especially since this is honestly the first time I've really done any using of Samurai. I did some quick skill usage and familiarization before making the video, and then I started making this video. I've covered all of the skills. I've demonstrated each of the skills that I can demonstrate without a party member. And the AoE rotation is incredibly simple and obvious, and I don't know how you could get it confused. It's the single target rotation where I'm not sure whether it's Jinpu first or Shifu first. Either one is effectively a damage up, but I think you might get more total damage up out of using Jinpu first because it's a 10% damage boost, followed by Shifu because that's a 10% haste. And being able to attack 10% faster does not mean you're doing 10% more damage flat. But once combined, that's a lot of extra damage, especially when considering you also are going to have your Yukikaze debuff on the enemy, causing them to take more slashing damage. So, yeah, Samurai is the king of damage. You want to kill things fast? Say hello to Samurai. You want to be able to support your party? Well, find somebody else. Samurai has no party support outside of their role actions. I suppose their slashing resistance debuff does help out the tanks, since all of the tanks do slashing damage. But, yeah. Samurai is a greedy DPS. They're all about maximizing their own power. Which is completely fine. Bring a Samurai along for raw, unadulterated damage, bring a few other DPS along for their various party supports, and also good damage output. Bring along some heals and a tank, and you've got yourself a powerful party. I'm just going to very quickly check something, because it doesn't say whether or not the slashing... It doesn't say that the slashing debuff doesn't stack. And I do believe there are a couple of other classes, a couple of other jobs that have a slashing debuff. I wonder if you can stack those. That would be nice. Or they might not have their slashing debuffs anymore. Who knows? Either way, I've gone over the effects of all of the skills, I've demonstrated all of the skills, and attempted to demonstrate rotation. Samurai is not exactly complicated. They're not the simplest thing in the universe, but they're not very hard to get your head around, and they do a lot of damage. Hopefully this video has been informative and helpful. If it hasn't, I'ma kill ya. Just kidding. Until my next video, goodbye.